Welcome to the 25th Sunday of Ordinary Time, everybody. This is Summit. My name is Mark. Let's jump in to the readings. When Jesus goes into what I call like Riddler mode, it always kind of leaves me scratching my head. He says all kinds of things. If you want to live, you have to die. You want to be the greatest, you have to be the least. You want to be the master, you got to be the servant. And then he has this one from this week in the gospel. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. I'll be honest. When I started getting into my faith, I really didn't like this verse very much because I wanted to still be first, right? I wanted to be able to follow Jesus, be God's son, live the right way, become a saint, but I wanted to be first. I mean, of course we want to be first. Who wants to be last? If you're in a race, who wants to come in last, right? If you're in line for food, who wants to go last, right? You get like nothing left. Who wants to be last? Yet this is the way that God thinks and speaks and asks us to live. You want to be first? You got to be last because the last will be first. Want to be rich? Sell everything you have. And you're going, wait, what are you doing? This is just the way God does math, right? And this shouldn't shock us, right? What's the Trinity math? 1 + 1 + 1 equals 1. That God doesn't think the way we think. God's thoughts are not our thoughts. That's what we're going to hear in the first reading from Isaiah. My thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. As high as the heavens are above the earth are my thoughts above your thoughts. God's trying to explain something to us. Your perspective, your viewpoint, your view is very limited, and mine's not. It's like we're trapped on earth. We can only see so much. But it's almost like he's in the heavens and he can see everything, all of it. He's timeless. He's the beginning to the end, everything in between. And we have to remember that because God's perspective is bigger. So you and I, we can get wrapped up in our life, get wrapped up in struggles and sufferings and issues and sin, and it clouds our vision. It makes us see things in a more short-sighted way, or we get reactionary and we act in ways that aren't of God. And God says, listen, this isn't about the short game, it's about the long game. You got to see bigger. You got to think bigger. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. My thoughts are not your thoughts. That's why in the second reading we hear, hey, for me, death is gain. And you're going, St. Paul, what are you talking about? How can death be gain? Death is, death. But St. Paul had begun adopting a much higher perspective. When he's writing these letters to these communities, when he's living, he's going his missionary journeys, he's thinking bigger. He's putting on Christ, as he says elsewhere in his writings. He's trying to adopt a godly mindset, a heavenly mindset, not an earthly mindset. And that's the challenge of the Christian life. And that's why everybody gets so mad in the Gospels, right? Here's this great parable. Matthew's got such great parables. This great parable about, hey, you have a landowner. He hires workers to go out at dawn, and then later on in the morning, and then at noon, and then in the afternoon, and then at the very end of the day, 5 o'clock at night. And we hear that he pays everybody the same. Now, honestly, the people who started working at dawn, who've been working in the sun all day long, like for 8, 9, 10 hours, they have a right to be angry, right? They've been working really hard, and you're going to give these people the same pay you gave me? And then Jesus says, but he said, hey, this is what we agreed on. You have no right to be upset. I'm the one that's being generous. I'm the one that's giving you the money. Like, this is what we decided on. Like, it's fair. And it's this wonderful analogy. I mean, what if you're 16, 25, 30, and you live the right way? And you live an honest life, a life filled with integrity, a holy life for 50 years, and you get into heaven. What about that person that converts on their deathbed? I mean, right before they die, they convert, and God forgives their sins, right? And they get into heaven. Like, are we going to be angry that person's in heaven? Shouldn't we desire for everybody to be in heaven? Shouldn't that be our goal? Shouldn't we adopt a more heavenly mindset and not an earthly one? Shouldn't we focus less on the math and more on the mercy? Shouldn't you and I be able to look at God and say, okay, you know what? Thank you for challenging me because my thoughts have not been your thoughts. And yeah, I guess deep down my desire is to be first. But what you're telling me is that the last are going to be first. So, okay. So if I follow you, even if the math doesn't make sense in my head because I'm looking at it from an earthly way, that ultimately I'll be with you in a heavenly way, I can live with that. And so can you.